We are back at intersection 1. Oh, it's Render! To
Hello.
continue, at this point, the only place that we haven't gone from the 4 labels in intersection 1 is to Brightwater, which is right through here.
Ta-da-da.
There's no more vines in here.
Nope, no more.
That's one
Yeah,
place. I wonder, without the vines in here, it does make the gravel more visible.
that's true.
I did not see the gravel. I saw it then in someone else's playthrough, and so I chose not to get the loot. I think there was a sturdy pickaxe. Yeah, stone pickaxe, Fortune 1, and Unbreaking 2.
Yeah. But it's basically
And
back to that little ledge from the start.
yeah, that's right. We talked about that.
hmm Many, many hours ago.
And I did appreciate that, yeah, it was also the water at the bottom, so that basically people who, the staircase is nice for ascending, but for descending, you could just drop straight down.
And I still left some of the annoying
Yeah,
vines,
there's definitely some vines still around here, so.
just so you could at least have some of the pain. This area, it was kind of hard to think about, like how would I make this interesting? So I figured I would just have a main area that's just exploration,
Mm-hmm.
and then a more dungeon section that's just off to the side,
Right,
which I now basically put under the monument.
right.
So there's just these small little islands around with zombies, just so I could also teach some new people that if they drown, they become drowned.
I see. Yeah, that's good. That's once again kind of a kindness or whatever in terms of people who aren't familiar with all the new mechanics. This is a relatively tame area, or even like it's easy to kind of like stay around the outskirts of it and not get yourself into too much trouble, and so you can choose how much uh, you're going to bite off at any given time or whatever, and kind of control the number of mobs that you encounter.
Yeah, and then your reward for actually like going all out on the exploration is the
The
is ac-
sapling,
is actually the saplings. Yes.
yeah, from the tree that we exploded previously.
Mhm. I think there used to be food chests on the green little banner um boat
Uh
that we
huh.
found.
There's yeah like 3 apples in here, I think is what it used to be,
Yeah,
and
so
some
now it's free apples, and one apple just gives you a little bit of regen,
right
like
gives
half
you
a
like
heart.
1 heart. Yeah.
Yeah, so that should hopefully queue in people a little bit better as well,
Oh
because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's a little bit more obvious what it does now.
Right. Yes.
And then there's the hint about to let the green banner guide you
Right. This
or something.
was um yeah, you had the hints for like all the emeralds. This was, I feel like, one of the most obvious ones for people who hadn't, looked at the hints or whatever to find, because
Mm,
it's kind of so doubly queued. One is the green that's on here, that with the light above it or whatever, like anywhere that you were in this like whole quadrant or whatever, like the green kind of pops in terms of the banners being out of place. And then once you come over here and find the chest and you're standing here, it's a typical kind of thing where, you know, you get a vantage point from here. If you just look around, that you'll see it right over here. So,
yeah, and basically the monsters also try to guide
oh
you.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like putting a monster spawner close to a chest, but actually not showing the chest directly is
Very
you can use
effective.
the monster spawner to actually get the player to the chest
Yep.
and make it more of a surprise rather than a oh there's a chest over there
Yep.
kind of thing.
Yeah, anytime you do kind of like a 2 or 3 step process for like the player discovering something, it makes them feel like they're very much in control and feel clever for finding something when in fact you were leaving
Yeah,
it to them the
exactly.
whole time.
It's like
Oh,
you're
wow,
kind of
there's like a whole little edge up here with some amethyst and different things that I didn't see
yeah,
before I was flying around with night
yeah
vision.
they're actually around everywhere, but yeah they're just hard to see.
Yeah,
There's a lot of money just scattered on random ledges that I think people would climb because
right.
they're like
All
around.
the vines, yeah, it does give you the opportunity to do that climbing if you wanted to.
hmm Especially as someone who like always lights up everything in an area. When I see like a dark ledge, for example, like Kaizo Caverns somewhere up, and
Right,
there's nothing there, I get kind of disappointed.
right,
And then some more chains. This
right.
is
Think I blew these up because I think I went after the amethyst first.
yeah, this chest layout is kind of reoccurring as well. So you always have armor and tools on the top left, and then you have blocks and kind of mob drops and resources on the right, and then food in the middle left, and then enchanted books mostly in the lower left.
I see.
So it's
And
kind
yeah,
of like how, yeah, you always say like, oh, it's random loot, but yeah, it's not completely random because I
right,
always put them in certain spots of the chest.
right. But I think yeah, like I hate the 16, 16, 16.
Yeah, I wish with the loot tables you could actually disable that so hard, just so instead of when I put in a loot table of 64
Oh,
blocks,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't get this in a chest
Right. Yep.
because it just
Um,
give me this.
yeah, yeah.
But
I
yeah.
remember. I remember loot tables. I'd kind of forgotten about them.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, they sounded like a good idea, and then I tried using them. Um, yeah, observer, amethyst, or whatever the money is now, and then oops, you set it
Oops.
off. So I was like, let's hightail it out of here.
Yeah,
And I
this
got
is
out
a.
alive, but I did not get my chains and other nice things.
I
So
don't think that this one is just like more of a scare trap, really. Not really
yeah, I'm
one.
trying to remember. I don't think I saw anybody die to it, but a lot of people set it off.
Hmm.
Which
It
is,
is
yeah,
for people to get greedy.
yeah, expected. Yeah, and it is right above here that is the ledge that had the anvil. So
Hmm.
if people did see this as like a tower, and even though there wasn't a staircase, people did try to climb the tower. That's another way that they could discover that good bit of loot.
Yeah. Over here, there's actually also another. This is the ring island again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like four zombie spawners with a smite sword basically in the middle. So you can use that really against all the mobs and also the upcoming mobs in the dungeon section as well.
Right. And gold with Unbreaking 3, do you have a sense of how that compares to like a stone or an iron sword?
Let me see. This is 32 hits. Unbreaking 3 basically quadruples because
Right.
every unbreaking level basically just adds another durability of itself. So 64, so 128, and a stone sword is 120
Okay.
damage.
That's what I was
Basically,
thinking.
stone sword.
Yeah, so it's like a stone sword. So yeah, that was okay. I don't know that I use that sword very much.
The sword is actually really good because it's two shots. I saw I saw actually quite a lot of people repair it often
I
with
see.
the gold drops.
Yeah.
This skeleton spawn actually gave quite a bit of people trouble.
Yeah, I mean, skeletons in water
Hmm.
definitely can throw you off, and also skeletons in an early area. I can't remember. I guess most people would have a shield at this point. Um, but
That is,
nevertheless, yeah, it was one of the first skeleton spawners I think in the map that people would encounter, and yeah, it could be a troubling thing. And yeah, I guess there were basically, as usual, kind of like two entrances. That was another thing, like the fact that there were kind of like two entrances to get in here. But the first time I came over here, it was this, and it looked like it might be a different area. And then I went over to where it was in the bridge, and there wasn't a sign, but it was another entrance into the area. And so the fact that there wasn't a sign made me think that it was part of Brightwater, but the fact that it
oh
seemed like a
yeah,
different area and there were multiple entrances made me kind of second guess myself. But then finally, I decided, you know what? It also has bright water in it. So,
yeah. Fun fact about the name: this used to be called Murkwater.
oh, really?
Yeah, because I made the map in 112 because all the tools are broken.
Oh, uh huh, uh
And
huh.
the water used to every light level instead of going one down, so
Right.
15, 14, it would actually be 15, 12,
Yep.
9 in water
Right.
until like
Before
the
they did the
updated
swimming
light.
update, like there was no reason for anyone to
Yeah.
ever be able to see underwater because who would go there? Yep. Okay.
Hmm. So and then it was like super bright and it kind of looked enchanted. So I was like, it's now bright water instead of murk water.
I see. All right. Fun little bit of trivia history.
Hmm. Then we can go inside the flaming portal. It's kind of like a little bit of a sewer section, kind of with this weird wall splitting it off.
Yeah, I
Kind of, kind of
guess.
like, kind of like the people who built it were trying to keep the growth out, or something.
Yeah,
The
for
overgrowth.
whatever reason, yeah, I didn't kind of. I guess it was kind of still too early in the map for me to be like trying to interpret any lore from this area or whatever. It was just like, okay, now I'm in here and now I'm overwhelmed by mobs. So the shroom guys, I forget if they had a name.
I don't think you can even. They probably do have a name, but you cannot see it because the potion is on their head, so you cannot see the name on them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
yeah.
they just didn't actually
I know
remember
there's
what
a
the.
spawner that's like right next to the entrance to Verde Passage. I was just trying to think of where their spawners are.
I have an idea actually. Oh no, wait, it doesn't work.
Um, I'm lost in here. Let me turn on my night vision.
Yeah, so this area is really disorienting and feels really big, even though it's actually quite small.
Right. Okay, but I'm over by Verde Passage, and here's one of these
Yeah.
guys.
And there's now also this big bridge to really alarm, like, hey, there's something over here.
I see. The bridge was even in my version, so I guess it was only in the first update that maybe it didn't have there.
Yeah, it used to be only this just small little stone brick
I see.
thing and then some light. So now I added all these hanging lanterns and this big bridge just to really be obvious about it.
Yeah, that's good because yeah, this was an important place to steer people. So
hmm
yeah, these monsters they were pretty tough for early area. Like they were kind of designed to slow you down. You couldn't very easily get soul from killing them was one of the main things because there's the soul and there's a damage
There's a
potion in between.
potion.
So yeah. I suppose if you were
hmm
clever, you could probably like place down blocks and be above the damage potion and somehow be close enough to the soul to pick it up, but I never tried doing that and I didn't see other people trying to do that. Um,
Yeah, if you kill them quick enough, the star drops instantly. You collect it instantly,
right.
so you can actually just kill them and then just walk away.
I see.
Because the potion also has a really late
Yeah, it seems to almost like
delay.
hop into the air before it kind of like falls down and
I
breaks.
I'm really 50-50 on these area effects because I also don't like how they're just like this horizontal thing and they don't go up.
Right. It is, yeah, slightly weird mechanic, and it also, um, in addition to just kind of like the added difficulty that it adds or whatever, like I think maybe it turns people off a little bit because it's also it forces people to wait sometimes, and waiting is the thing that people hate the most. Um,
hmm
so yeah, I felt like I saw a bunch of people kind of react kind of negatively to these guys. Um,
Yeah.
And so yeah, they were probably of the custom mobs. I think they were my least favorite mob.
hmm
But they appeared, I think, just in two areas. I think here and one other place.
Yeah, and in Verde Passage because it kind of is a
Right.
continuation.
Yes.
This area is generally probably one of the most difficult in terms of like straight up terrain because there's vines, used to be skeletons, there's mushrooms everywhere, there's creeper spawners up high
Right.
everywhere.
Yeah. The
So
hanging.
especially early on as well.
The hanging. I love the aesthetic of the leaf blocks that are like the hanging vines that then have the creeper spawners in them.
hmm
It was a little hard to appreciate at first until I got some light up there to really kind of see exactly what was going on and walk up there and break some spawners. But I did like that aesthetic in this place. And it was also, yeah, obviously um, one of many examples of where you're good at putting creepers above the player and it makes it very challenging.
hmm Always put the spawner like if you just put a spawner just on the ground, it makes it really easy. So you could always put like either behind gravel or just up on ledges, just somewhere where it's just out of reach for the player to easily run up to and break it.
Mm,
And you could always get a second spawn cycle out of the spawner that way.
yeah.
Like,
Um, but yeah, it wasn't an overwhelming number of spawners in this place. And like you said, it wasn't actually that large of a location, but it was just the terrain made it so difficult to kind of get around.
hmm
I was going to talk about it in Verde Passage, but I think I'll talk about it here. There are tons of vines that are part of the area. Um, if you were thinking about ever trying to come up with more ideas for charms, I had like a couple of utility charm ideas, and I think I shared this one with you offline already, which is if there was a charm you could wear in your offhand that would just cause like all vines and maybe also like ferns or other plants within a 3 block radius of the player to just like disappear, like get replaced with air. Um, I think it might actually be overpowered if that was the only thing that the charm did. And so like I would even say like if it did that and like took off like 2 hearts of health or something, like I could imagine still some players might use it in this area or in Verde Passage.
Oh yeah, or it
Um,
could be like an upgrade, kind of an upgrade. I was thinking of what if you have a system where you at the monument you could, instead of just using the emeralds, you could actually make emerald blocks out of them, and then you could use them kind of like the charm notches to actually put them in upgrades.
Interesting. So you could have
And
like
then
multiple charms going at the same time effectively.
yeah, and then you could also change your builds by going to the monument and say you want to do mining or you want more loot from mobs.
Mm-hmm.
Then I basically get like extra loot charms
Yeah.
or upgrades.
So, all right, yeah. I'm glad that you just like have the idea, and yeah, obviously it's difficult with the limitations of the player's inventory system and different things too, and you know how you have the player interact in order to actually choose what they're going to do. But yeah, giving the player more build possibilities. That was just an idea that I had in terms of more build possibilities. That was it was an idea to cope with the fact that I just hated how many vines were in here and were in Verde Passage. Um,
Yeah, at some point in
and
the map, I was like, no vines anymore. I've had enough.
I was glad it was basically intersection one, and then like after intersection
Yeah.
one, they hardly reappeared again. But I was very glad to be past them.
Mm-hmm. And then at the end, we have a little floating platform.
Indeed, with creeper spawners on either side, so it's well defended.
Mm-hmm. And while you're going for it, I hope people will notice the heavy amounts of stalactites, the glowing ring of glowstone, and the impending swimming creepers of doom.
Indeed, and nevertheless, it did. Everyone eventually found it, but it did take people a few times in a couple of playthroughs that I saw to really notice exactly what was happening here.
Yeah,
To discover, oh, guess what? The music disc is right here.
it's one of the two records that people missed the most often.
Yeah, and yeah, I can see it, but it was perfectly reasonable. I think in my playthrough, yeah, I might have had to do a second pass before I discovered it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that said, like I have mixed emotions. Like it's one of those things that I mean, this is like a recurring kind of trap theme or whatever. Like there's Peaceful Lake and Legendary and a couple other places where you or other people have used basically the same thing. If you have tackled this kind of thing before or are just like willing to be brave, it can be extremely straightforward to do. And if you don't, like it can be bewildering and you can take a lot of deaths. Um, it's a very, I don't know, kind of like pivotal. What's the word I'm looking for? People have strong opinions one
Uh,
way or the other.
okay, yeah.
And so
It
having
is
this
kind of
as
a
like what was
cliche.
potentially like the second area or whatever, like I wonder how people felt about it.
Yeah. I actually don't really know the answer to the question.
Yeah. So I thought, especially with the death totems or whatever, like, um, yeah, I was more willing to forgive like a lot of things in terms of difficulty because it made it so much easier to get your stuff back. Um, and I don't think I took any deaths like trying to go down into here. I can't actually remember. And I saw other
Hmm.
people who did, and it was okay. Um, but yeah, I just kind of wonder. It was a thought I had in the back of my head in terms of this area.
Yeah. I think these spawners actually one of the only spawners in the map that are not primed
I
on
see. Well,
purpose.
yeah, they don't need to be. The
Yeah,
player's
they're
going to
not.
spend a bit of time around this area before they discover what's going on. You almost need the creepers
Yeah.
to come up before you're going to discover it, unless you're
Well,
very good eagle eyes.
if they go up earlier, they actually I think they were actually more dangerous because people always got to this swimming,
I
and
see.
then it went less swimmingly.
Yeah, and I guess you could just like climb up the vine right here or whatever. Like I totally had gone
Yeah.
up into the ceiling in order to go after the creeper spawners and then bridged over. But then I saw later that there was explicitly vines there to make it so you could just swim right on up.
Mm-hmm. Those are
And
good
yeah,
there.
there was also this is where you hand out the endurance charm, which gives extra health. +4 max health is +2 hearts. Um, it would be nice. I don't know if there's any good way to do it. If people like do equip the charm, if it could somehow like give them the hearts, so they don't have to spend the soul to like build up from 10 to 12 or something. But I don't know how easy that is to do, and I don't know if that would somehow
Yeah.
incorporate other things where it could be overpowered if people used it in weird
I
spots.
would it only happen the first time, or would it happen every time you equip it? And it means you basically, when you go into your offhand, you get 2 extra health every time.
Right, and so yeah, I don't know if
So
you could then trade it back, trade it with the shield back and forth to get more hearts or something. Yeah, I don't know.
exactly, that's kind of like the carrots um, with the old food system, where if you planted a carrot, you would also get food back.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In terms of
That
like
little part.
carrot.use or whatever dot eat. Um, and
Yeah.
another thing I noticed is whenever you're using the endurance charm or the advanced endurance charm, if you exit the game with more than 10 hearts and then you log out and log back in, you go back down to 10 hearts.
Oh,
Um,
really? That doesn't save? Huh.
yep, because Minecraft, I presume. So
It's not
fortunately,
me, I swear.
fortunately, I don't think people exit the game a whole lot when they're not at the monument or whatever, or when they have the extra hearts necessarily. So it's not a huge deal, but that was an annoyance I noticed a lot toward the end of the map because I used the advanced endurance charm as my main charm at the end of the map when I had super good armor. And so I'd have 13 hearts and I'd log out and I'd come back in and I'd have 10 hearts and I'd be like, okay, I have to go walk into the other area of the ritual grounds to get my soul back and heal up. Yeah. So
And then he will be, yeah.
it's just another minor annoyance, but that was a good charm. I could, it's a pretty straightforward idea or whatever. I could see a number of people using that in situations,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
These
definitely
charms,
more valuable when you have better armor.
yeah.
Um,
Yep. The charms are just alternatives to shields because
yeah.
shields are iffy.
Yeah, I know what you said that, yeah, like a lot of people really don't like the shields, and so you gave people a lot of alternatives. And I originally was thinking that I wasn't probably going to use them, and I ended up using like three or four of them. So I like the
That's good,
alternatives that you made
actually.
with the charm.
That is good. Because it also means that they're properly balanced, that you're actually thinking about using them.
Yeah.
And especially
Um,
also with some of the lore text on it. Because if you just put X amount of speed extra, then it's like, what is X amount of speed, right? So it's always in percentages. So it's like, oh yeah, plus 20% speed
right.
instead of plus 0.1 or whatever that value is.
There was some loot in here. I think there was a loot chest that had some chains somewhere that I might have found, but then I ran past like there was.
Yeah, I'm at it. So
Oh, okay. Teleport
it's relatively close to the start.
Oregon to render. All right.
Yay.
Yeah, I think I looked in this chest at some point, but there was like a creeper coming at me from probably the spawner, and I forgot about it and never came back to it. So that's an example of more chains that I failed to get in my playthrough of the map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I say, "Oh, I'll come back and get this loot later," and I never get it because I'm not big on loot.
That's I think that's relatable for a lot of people,
Yeah,
especially because you don't want to constantly loot every time.
yeah.
And this is there used to be vines here or leaves.
Oh yeah! Wow. Okay, this is very changed.
I quickly opened it up because I thought you were looking at me. Because I was trying to guide you in this direction.
I see.
But yeah, we um we I put this spawner here just so people could actually hear the mobs on the other side, and they
Mm-hmm.
would kind of get queued off by the staircase that was here. So
Mm-hmm.
they would dig through the leaves to find that they're underneath the bridge, and then
Yep.
they could find bonus area 2.
Do 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 do. It's bonus area one, isn't it?
Oh yeah, bonus area 1.
Bonus area two
The
is Bygone
second we
Mines.
explore with extra vines.
Extra vines, and the vines were very good at kind of hiding this. Like I had kind of like seen over here, but until I was actually like on top of it, I didn't actually see that the silver depths were down here.
That's
Um,
what vines are really good for. It's like a
yes,
curtain, like it's a small suspension of what's on the other side.
and I admit, like I don't like having so many vines in the area, but you also, if you're going to use the vines as a curtain, you need vines a whole bunch of everywhere else so that it doesn't stand out that why are there vines here and not anywhere else? It must be hiding something. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, this was
So
I. Oh yeah, I remember this place now. I was like,
yeah, this
I don't remember what this
this
place
area
was.
can be forgettable. It's basically the same as the small section up top,
Right.
let's stand it on because I really liked that section and I wanted a more action focused section of it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically a little bit faster pace, a lot more spawners.
Yeah. This
Also
was.
loops a lot more, which is really good for quicker play. Yeah, quicker play, I guess.
Mm, yeah, because kind of there's mostly one kind of big circle, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
in the back after you get through the painting. Because yeah, it seems like it's only 6 rooms, and you look back here and there's nothing really back here. Well, I don't know that anybody thinks that because they see the painting and they see the gravel and people are clever.
This is meant to scream, "Hey, look at this painting."
I thought the gravel fell at some point. Maybe I was making that up when you opened the chest.
You might be making that up.
Okay. And does the painting? Oh, that's right. Paintings have this weird thing where if you break the block that they're on, sometimes they don't update for a few seconds.
Yeah, because they're entities, technically.
Yeah, paintings are weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like the fact that you break the first painting, and then you come back here and you start putting paintings all around, and people are breaking all of them, and there's only like one other painting in the whole place that has something behind it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, just kind of subversion of expectations in terms of where the traps are going to be.
Mm-hmm. And then basically how I designed this place is I've just made a big circle,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Should we just run the circle? Like,
yeah, it just when it's just we can even do a marathon. And in first place, there's Brian. Oh, and Brenda is overtaking. But he got stuck in a cobweb.
it's a little bit weird that in creative mode the cobwebs affect you.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
also a little bit weird that they don't have a potion of web walking or something. Like, that would be such an easy thing. That would be another cool mechanic.
oh, potion of web walking. Oh, I could also do that with the vine, getting rid of vines. I could also get rid of cobwebs with that as well.
Oh, yeah, that could be interesting. No Leaf Clover would love that. Um,
Yeah, he would.
and yeah, imagine also if there was a potion of web walking, like if you could put it on a creeper, and so you could have creepers that could just run right through the webs or whatever, like a rush creep or whatever. Um, it would be a
Oh, yeah.
cool game mechanic, both in terms of mobs as well as players, I feel like.
Maybe apply a speed effect when they're inside.
That would be weird.
Yeah, it would actually kind of, yeah, that would not probably work actually. Potion of anti-disturbance. But yeah, so there's I designed just a massive room, and then I put some offshoot rooms everywhere, and then try to link those together in the middle. So it's kind of like an O with just a dash in the middle, and that's the whole layout.
I see. I'm going to go into spectator mode actually, so I can just kind of hover above it and appreciate the layout better. It almost looks like the logo a little bit, but it's just because it's kind of spherical
Oh
with
yeah, it
things on
kind
the
of
side.
does. And as you can see, I actually put 2 vanilla dungeons in there as well, for the heck of it.
They're not
They both,
exactly vanilla dungeons.
yeah,
They're
okay,
not
they're
the same
filled.
dimensions. Yeah. And
Yeah,
the one with the
they
cave
are.
spiders
They
over
are.
here.
Oh,
No, it's
actually,
too
one of
big,
them is
isn't
seven,
it?
7 by 7 and 9 by 9, right? So
I think
middle
vanilla is 5 by 7 or 7 by 5 or 7 by 7 or 5 by 5 or something. I forget.
5 by 5.
I
Oh yeah, actually,
forget.
yeah. Okay, this one is too big, but the other one is
Okay.
the other one.
Yeah. And this one, I think it had cave spiders in it. And once again, there's chains in the corner. And so I had done most of this dungeon and there were cave spiders and I had already gotten the emerald and the spell, I think, or something. And I was like, all right, whatever loses back there, I don't care. So
Oh
once
yeah.
again, I didn't get chains.
And then
Um,
I think there's a yeah. There's also a bow in the other chest, in the other cave spider room.
I see. Yeah, I might have gotten that one. And then in the back is where you get the emerald and a spell that turns out to be a cool spell. And eventually I'll get there.
Yay! Wait, is this also cave spider? What is this one? Are there two skeleton jockey ones? Because this one is a skeleton jockey that is gonna suffocate.
I see. Well, we can wait for them to spawn.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime now.
Anytime now. Come on. I
Chat,
just
place your
punch it.
bets. What mob's going to spawn? It is a skeleton jockey. Okay.
Oh, yeah, they're both skeleton jockeys, huh? So yeah, there are 4 skeleton jockeys in the map.
Yeah. And Yeah, I mean, at this point, like this room was pretty easy to rush or whatever and deal with the mobs. Um, it was kind
I
of
thought,
more the offshoot rooms. I feel like, other than the ones with the cave spiders, the offshoot rooms uh, were kind of self-contained. Whereas when you're in the main ring, you could have mobs coming at you from two or three directions at once, and so that was where I struggled more. I felt like.
very true. I think also the usage of skelly jockeys was not super efficient here because they kill
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah, they just kind of kill themselves. Yeah. Um,
They're better in open spaces.
but yeah, and it could also be like it can still feel threatening. Like when you hear a skeleton suffocating and that you know that there's a spider jockey somewhere around. Like, um, yeah, there's like a mental thing going on there too.
Mhm. Yeah, we have.
Da 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 da. Flask of Lingering Flame summons an orb of fire that damages nearby enemies. So I misinterpreted this in terms of its behavior because I drank it. I saw that there was stuff around me and then thought that it was going to hover and float around me or whatever. And so, like, wherever I go, it was going to be like uh, plasma field that was like around me or whatever when mobs
Oh,
were
that is
attacking me.
actually a good one as well. I might
And
like.
so I drank it, I think, once to test it out and kind of like had that idea. And then one more time and didn't quite see it dealing damage to enemies. And so thought that it wasn't very good. And because Soul was still at such a premium, because there wasn't the Soul replenishment, the intersections, for example, or whatever, like I put it away for a while and then I saw Kit use it and I was like, oh, that's what it does. And then I started using
Mm,
it.
okay.
So I don't know if it's something in the lore text or if it's just, I mean, I've seen, Ragecraft 3 and other maps that have area of effect things or whatever, but it just didn't occur to me that it was a static AoE field.
Yeah, I
So
think the word orb might not help, but yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know how to communicate better exactly how it works. I was even, I was imagining it's like hard to do or whatever, uh, like camera effects or like third person cutscenes. Like if I'd been in F5 mode and used it or whatever, like it would have been a whole lot clearer exactly what it was doing. Um, I was thinking about a number of things afterwards, and I don't remember all of them now.
Hmm.
But yeah, the other thing that that I've suggested before or whatever is I think when you pick up the flask, it gives you all your soul back, which you may or may not notice depending upon if you have all your soul at the time and if you're paying attention to that.
Hmm.
This would be another place where it would be great if there was a block you could mine that gives you soul that just had like a soul
Yeah,
star inside the block. If there were a few of them here every time you pick up this, it just encourages the player to test out the new spell with little cost when they first
like,
get it.
like the cake idea.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I could put even like a little star on top of the cake.
Yeah, instead of having the birthday cake texture, it could have like a star texture or something. I
Hmm. Make it chocolate. Mojang, please, chocolate cake.
don't know.
Make my life complete. Having virtual chocolate cake. This is a shortcut that almost, at least quite a few people missed. And it looks really trappy,
It
even
does
though
because it's two wide hallway as opposed to a three or whatever. People were always
there's
worried about pistons in the floor
there's
and yeah, blah blah blah.
slabs, it's up.
So yeah, the fact that it looks trappy, of course, because you're subverting expectations. It's not a trap. It's just a shortcut back.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool.
Swoosh.
Sploosh skadoosh. Um, People were asking in my chat. I never tried to cure a villager. Since you have golden apples and villagers, could people cure villagers and somehow do crazy stuff that would break the map?
That's a very good question. I think I thought about that by doing this. Oh, I thought I disabled zombie villagers.
I see.
But so technically yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
survive in any way you can think of. If people were clever and did that, um, like
yeah. If you feel like taking advantage of the map,
right.
which
I feel like yeah,
your
that's again, like however people want to play.
choice.
But yeah, you do wonder what the map maker's intention might be.
Yeah, I had a discussion with somebody about shields as well. He hated shields, and I was like, "We're just gonna ban shields completely from the game." Like literally, you cannot make a shield. You're not never gonna get a shield, and we're just gonna design around that. And on one end, it's a nice idea, but on the other end, I kind of like the idea of the player gets to choose because this
Yeah.
game is about freedom and
Yeah.
kind of slowly starting to take everything out that you don't like. Might make a map that you kind of like a lot, but then
You narrow
you
your
also,
audience.
yeah.
So yeah, that's always that's got to be a tough thing as a map maker. And I, in the map or two that I've made, like struggled with some of that or whatever because like I don't know, you have kind of like your artistic thing of like, oh, this is how I want the game to be or whatever, but um, yeah, it's important to think about how other people might want the game to be because they're the ones who are going to be playing the map. So
And how easy is it also for players to teach them new habits without it, without the thing that you're kind
oh
of,
right, if everyone's used to using a shield as a crutch and all of a sudden they don't have it, yeah.
yeah, then you're gonna get a lot of frustrated players, and you're gonna complain that you don't have any shields, and especially like careful players are gonna be kind of upset by that. I would imagine, at least,
Yeah,
because they would like use the shield a lot, and they're not used to just running in and dodging skeletons, for example,
right.
or arrows from skeletons.
Yeah, and so I did appreciate, some of it was the charms and some of it was having very what felt like overpowered armor at the end of the game. I definitely kind of changed my play style. I tend to be very careful toward the beginning, and then toward the end, I was getting a lot more carefree, and it made things fun and exciting. Um, and so, yeah, having the freedom and then, exploiting the freedom gave me a chance to kind of explore gameplay that I don't typically do. So that was cool.
Mm-hmm. So here we come up to a Verde passage,
Verde
which is
Passage. It's a green path, one might say.
it's a green passage, exactly.
You might
There's
find
actually
a
a path.
moss charger there, for example.
Oh yeah, and there might actually also be a path.
Very Hollow Knight references.
Uh-huh. When I made this, I basically had that song on loop as well.
I see. Yeah, a lot of good music in Hollow Knight. So yeah, up here is the shortcut that we already showed over at the monument. And then down at the bottom, whee!
Sploosh.
This room, I guess it's pretty dark when you get down here. But there weren't a whole lot of places for mobs to spawn, and so it felt relatively safe. And I don't know. Yeah, I guess we're in a jungle biome here. There was some portion of Verde Passage that I know is actually underneath the monument portion of the monument, so it's in a void biome, so there aren't any natural
Exactly.
spawns. I did not
Exactly.
notice that when I was playing the map, which kind of surprises me. But I guess there were only like 3 or 4 spawners in that area, but it was still enough to keep me busy, I guess, that I didn't notice that there weren't any natural spawns there.
Yeah, the moss charges themselves are actually really,
They're fast and
like,
they hit hard.
yeah, they're quite dangerous actually because they're
Yes.
the first mobs that you should really watch out
I
for.
think I'm imagining I imagine in terms of like special mobs, they're the mob that killed the most players of the playthroughs that I've seen. Obviously, that's going to be kind of front loaded because a lot of the playthroughs I've seen haven't gotten, past past this area or very far into the toward the end of the map. But the Moss
Yes.
Chargers, they definitely got people.
Mm-hmm. This this area is probably one of my favorites in terms of atmosphere because
Hmm.
there's lights peeking through everywhere in between like
Yes,
green and light gray. There's water dripping everywhere. It's super lush. It's like a garden. There's a lot of differentiation in between all the plants everywhere. Like you have some
yes.
parts that have a lot of rose bushes.
Yes. And so, yeah, once again, we talked already about the trade offs in terms of you can have all these things and it makes it a cool visual effect. It also helps hide the mobs, things like creepers that are hiding in the greenery. Your sword hits might get absorbed by some of the greenery as you're breaking it down, but also your inventory gets filled with so much clutter. And so we've talked about ways that you
Yeah.
could improve that in the future.
And that also makes the area play even slower than intended. Because this was meant as the first like big area in the map,
Hmm.
but it turned out even bigger. I've seen some people like done like 3 hours.
It really
This
had a
whole
Caves of Confusion kind of feel in terms of I'm actually curious to go back up in
It's
spectator
intentional.
mode.
The layout is actually really simple
Let
because
me get night vision on so that I can actually see it and make sure that everyone watching can see.
the
Oops.
layout is actually relatively simple.
This is Render's idea of relatively simple. Okay.
I guess I'm too spatially complex for this.
Wow, this is actually more complicated than I thought it was. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So there's various spherical nodes that are connected via hallways, but at multiple levels of verticality. Um,
So there's one node that goes underneath.
all right, let me
That's
go
the
down
one with
toward the
the
bottom.
water and the tower, and that one actually goes to the very big room.
Right.
All the other ones are basically in a 2D plane,
I see what you're saying. Okay, so that's the only thing
where
that
one
comes
of
down to
them.
this level, and all of these, despite being slightly different height, are all kind of just one kind of
Yes.
loop with a couple of infinity signs kind of in the middle or something.
Uh-huh. There's actually a grass path going through it that does
Uh,
loop.
oh, wow.
So
So
it
I
is
noticed
actually
the path blocks as terrain in terms of you cannot place a torch on a path block and therefore it's an obstacle to the player. It never once occurred to me to think of the path blocks as a path to follow, and I
yeah.
feel very dumb about that right now.
A lot of people don't actually notice it, and you can just follow it, and it leads you almost everywhere. It leads you to all.
Yeah.
It actually goes through all the most important places, like the little water tower that has the two skeleton spawners that leads to the.
Yeah, the path does. I was thinking the path might be relatively linear, but it does branch around a little bit more than I realized. So it's not quite as useful as I was originally thinking when I just discovered it a
Yeah,
moment ago.
if you're really lost, you can still just walk through it.
I'm at the "Are you lost? Are you lost?" sign when you just said, "Or if you're really lost," so that's pretty funny.
Hmm. But yeah, it still has the caves of confusion feel to it.
Um, yeah. So it'll be difficult to kind of like fly around together. So what are the highlight points that you want to talk about?
I'm right behind you,
Okay.
so we could talk. We could start at this
Right.
point.
Okay, so I have to do this again. It was amazing for me to go back and watch the video
No,
because
I laughed. I rewatched that so many times.
because you have the
Amazing.
X marks the spot, and obviously you have to do something here. And I really thought there was going to be something in the ceiling that I was going to have to go up and find. And so I was just focused. I can get very focused visually looking at the ceiling, trying to see what I was supposed to find. Completely did not see the TNT falling on top of me. And I go and rewatch the video, and it's like so prominent. And so I thought it was funny too. But
It's so
it's just
funny.
my
You were just
brain
looking at
completely
it.
filtered it out. I don't have any explanation for it. It's just what
It's,
happened.
it's like somebody. I can totally understand what happened because I've been there when you're like at a gymnastics class, at least when I was younger,
Uh
and then somebody would throw a ball at you, and you're just daydreaming and thinking about something else,
huh.
and you just get smacked in the face with that ball.
Yep.
And that's basically just what happened.
Yep. So, yeah. But yeah, it was just amazing to me. Like, I was thinking that, yeah, like, why didn't I see the TNT? Like, did Minecraft glitch? And I go back and watch the clip, and it's just like, whoop, right there on my screen. It reminds me there's like some famous psychology thing where they show a video of people playing basketball, and people are supposed to count
Oh
how many
yeah,
passes.
and
Uh,
the gorilla just walks through,
right, and a
right?
gorilla walks through the scene, and then people say, "Did you see the gorilla?" And people don't see it.
What
It was that.
gorilla? Yeah. Yeah, it was basically that actually.
That's my only explanation.
Some so basically X marks the spot is like a reoccurring thing in my maps.
Right.
But for I had some new people actually complain that they didn't know what to do. So I added this. Just a really obvious
I see.
symbol saying X marks the
I
spot.
mean, there was the
It's
Exofen
actually
stone. There was a giant plant in the center of a henge circular structure.
Mhm.
There was sand. Was the sand at the
Yeah,
center and the so it was the only
yeah,
sand block that you would dig with it. So the shovel was definitely helping, I
the
imagine.
end stone was the only thing in the middle.
Oh, okay, the end stone was the thing in the middle. Okay,
And
the
then
other
there were
ones were sand.
literally rings of these peonies and lilacs,
Well,
like going to the
you
center.
can't possibly see the rings of. I mean, you're
That
going through this whole place and like you're inside of them or whatever, and like
that's true, but there was a
yeah,
little clearing in the middle where you could clearly see the axe.
okay, but yeah, they
But,
clearly see the X. Yeah,
that's yeah, me expecting too much from players,
right. But yeah, X marks
especially
the spot. That
for
was a good little addition to hopefully help drive home the point. But yeah,
mhm. Especially for like an objective. I wanted it to be more obvious.
there's a piston up here.
So what it does, it you cannot see the redstone torches normally when
Right.
the thing falls, when
Uh-huh.
the thing breaks.
Oh, I see.
There's like a it's on top of a gravel block
Yep.
or a sand block,
Uh-huh.
and then a redstone block, or a redstone torch that was on top of that gravel block, pops off,
Right.
and that triggers the pistons to basically push the TNT
Yep.
over. It would reveal the block. It would basically reveal the blocks,
Yep.
and then it has room to fall.
Okay. So
That
yeah.
was a kind of a poor explanation, but
But yeah, it was a simple, effective trap. But I don't know that I've seen that kind of thing where you have someone break, I forget what these chorus fruit plants, is that what they're called?
Mhm.
Break one of those, and then as a result, because it can be so tall and break it upstairs or whatever, like causes
I
some action at a distance like that.
I really wanted to do like a proper trap with them because I hadn't done them, even though I used a lot of them in an area of Horrify. So I really wanted to actually do a proper trap, even though this was more of a transition trap than a trap.
Oh yeah, that's also yeah the fact that I guess that you definitely needed people to find this because it's the only way they were going to get to the record disc in this area, and so yeah,
Hmm.
it's extra important that people get the clue.
Yes, and then you get to the Colosseum part.
Right, and you've had creeper spawners like above the player like throughout, but this creeper spawner, I guess I did see it cause other people a little bit of problem or whatever, but this one right here and maybe this one really caused me some trouble when I was getting in here, as I recall.
Hmm.
Because I did not originally see where they were coming from. It's that one.
This was quite hard to expect because people would basically think this is just like an entryway into something
Right,
and not like a structure that is open at the top as well.
right. And also, it feels like, you're transitioning into now like one of these dungeon types that we've seen before, where it's, hey, it's a flat floor. You can run, you can have speed, you can just go
Uh,
and light it up. And
there's
so,
no openness, but this one is really open
yeah.
because it's a Colosseum type design.
And so, yeah, here's a chance to have the logo
Hmm.
kind of in the floor once again, which looks cool.
And then this this actually kind of used to be also be inspired by used to be inspired. This also was inspired by the I think Tree Shrouds Forest in one of the Mystery Dungeon games. And it also had like a green logo on the bottom where you would get a time gear, which you needed to collect in that game.
I
So
see.
it kind of also, and it was at the very bottom of a very overgrown dungeon that was quite long. So
Hmm.
I felt it was a pretty good reference to put that here.
I see.
Yeah, I don't think many people actually made the reference.
I think possibly one or two people did see that there was, I forget, there was like two jack-o'-lanterns in the ceiling or something. It was like just seemed possibly out of place enough to possibly be a secret, but not exactly.
They're yeah, they're everywhere. So it's but especially in like in the bigger rooms, they're there.
Yeah.
They're there. They're there.
I guess the other thing that got a number of people was the creeper spawner underneath one of these staircases that was kind of like just you'd only see it if you walked around the back. Yeah, this one right
Oh
here.
yeah, I specifically played around with not putting spawners underneath the staircases
Right.
until like some people got comfortable with it.
Yep. So yeah, you always had them kind of in a visible location, and you're going down one level, and you're going down the next level, and you feel like you get a sense of it, and then all of a sudden you come down here, and you don't put very light right here, and you get down to moss chargers chasing you, and you back up, and there's a creeper behind you.
Exactly. And there's two little cubbies that creepers shoot you from. Skeletons shoot you from. You have one
Right.
here. There used to be two spawners on both sides. So they two on this
I
side.
see. One is
And
definitely
then
plenty, probably.
and this is kind of like a leaf dome, kind of trying to hide by also making no path here and ruining the path on the other side.
Right.
Really hiding that there's like skeleton spawners up one floor that's broken. Because they're here.
Right. I see. Yeah, I'm not even sure if I took that skeleton spawner out now that I think about it.
Mm-hmm. It's quite pretty hidden.
Yeah, kind of hard to get to. And then, yeah, the disc was a little bit hidden, but also at the same time completely obvious. You get to the end of the area, there's got to be something. And there's only two places you could potentially look. One is here, and the other is down in the water if you decide to come swimming.
Yep.
Assuming that you've gotten rid of the spawners.
When I put this one in the record, I was like, how could I put this in? Because I don't just want to put a chest down there and say, hey, that's the record. You should have known that's the record because there's a massive thing around it. So I put it kind of underneath, so it's a little bit harder to see. But then when I put it there, it kind of reminded me of that one area in Vinyl Fantasy 2, where it's also like it was in like a pentagram in the middle as well, and kind of hidden underneath.
Can't remember the area offhand, but yeah, okay.
I think it's called Waves of Mutilation.
I remember that name, but I can't think of what the box at the end was like.
Okay. Somebody also
Oh yeah, I think I do remember it now. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Somebody also said this looked like the one dungeon in Calamity Canyon, the Black Mesa Ruins, where you also had these Colosseum styled in the dungeon a lot.
Yeah, I guess.
I guess yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a pretty straightforward and effective dungeon design to kind of have things spiral down with some staircases, or I guess this one's less of a spiral and more of just like tiers, and you have to walk across to the next staircase kind of thing.
Tears and then make people have tears.
I didn't even think of the pun. Oh, I forgot about. They're right. There was a potions chest up on top of this mushroom up here. I think I did find this. Just potions lows, not a super big deal.
Not that important.
There was something else I was gonna say. And yeah, despite the fact this was kind of a hard area, after you got through the creeper spawners at the entrance, at least you're going downhill. Like it's definitely easier to fight your way down than it is to fight your way up typically. So that helped with
Yeah,
the fact that this was a pretty difficult area, but at least the environment was to your advantage.
I could have made it go up, but this area was already so tiring in terms of terrain. It would have just gotten
Yeah,
annoying and very
yeah,
sluggish. It would
definitely
have
better
become
to
a
do it
slog.
this way.
This area is either most people's favorite or most people's least favorite. Same for the fundaments.
Yeah,
It's weird.
divisive. Yeah, I saw some people who were really good at navigating this area. And I usually feel like I'm good at navigating 3D spaces. This one really threw me off. I think it was the lack of distinctive visual cues in most places that maybe did it, and also maybe, um, I don't know, the
It's
fact that it
it's
kind of
so
goes at every
lush.
angle and there's no kind of like four-way north, south, east, west kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, you go a lot of. There's a few underneaths and overs, which can completely throw you off.
Hmm.
And there's also so much lush green in your way that you kind of turn yourself around.
Right.
That really happens because you basically just shake your screen to literally break all these vines and leaves. So yeah. Mm. Yeah, so basically these signs, the Are You Lost, are basically in the middle at the end, kind of, from the start of the
Hmm.
area. And to the left.
So I forget, of these like tall tower buildings with the spawners, are there like two or three of them? I forget.
Um, this one is a kind of a small castle in the middle. There's one which is a lake with a small tower in the middle with
Right.
skeleton spawners.
Yep.
That's the one with the lots of good books.
Yep.
And there's one that's just three small separate towers.
I see. Okay.
So I tried to make everything different enough.
Yeah. I mean, they were kind of distinct in terms of the mobs and the towers, and they were kind of same in terms of like it's moss stone and cobblestone and a bunch of greenery around, and I'm lost. um,
Mhm.
yeah, and I don't know that there's anything you need to do different in that.
And
Uh,
then over in the
saying anything
back
about.
left corner. So currently in the back left corner,
Uh-huh. Oh
there's also
yeah.
the shortcut back, which this one came also pretty late. So I was like, let's just make it an Easter egg that you kind of go back to the start.
Hmm.
And then people were confused by the black wall.
Oh yeah, the first time you encounter this or whatever, like it seems like, did Minecraft glitch? What's going on? They make the black so black, which I love because you can use it a lot of cool ways like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that people also get so confused about it because it's just such a curveball that I just enjoy.
someone in my chat is asking about what tools you use for designing and building this and stitching it together. Is it MC Edit? Is it other tools? I think you've mentioned before that you use a number of different tools.
Um, I mainly used Voxel Sniper and a variation of World Edit. It's called Fast to Sync World Edit. And then it was for version 1.12.
Hmm.
I think they still work for version 1.16.3. Um, and I used MC Edit a lot for shifting areas around. So MC Edit is for really big operations,
Got it.
and Voxel Edit and um, Voxel Edit, Voxel Sniper, and the World Edit is for basically being in game and actually seeing the details of what you're doing as well.
Got it. Yeah,
But
I think we talked about the set piece some. Is there other things you want to do out here?
not really. I just want to show it.
I see. It does look cool for something that, yeah, people only see for a few seconds at the start and then possibly as a Easter egg later.
Yeah, somebody in chat's also saying no 14er edit. 14er edit wasn't a thing back then, but yeah, I recommend 14er edit to use that now because the older tools are really outdated, especially in terms of the developers actually continuing them. So they are on the verge of breaking and
I
do
see.
weird stuff. It's a shame, kind of how updating the game just kills all the tools and developers of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Software is hard to modify.
that's very true, especially when you have it built, then you have to rewrite so much.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. So this is the one node that's kind of underneath all the others.
Oh, let me pop. Oops.
Oh yeah, we're there.
I just want to. Oops. Ah! I dropped my mouse in real life.
Oh, not the mouse.
I just want to see, kind of looking down and then looking back up through spectator mode. And yeah, I'm never going to quite fit how this fits together. Okay. So this is the one with the two skeletons. This is another one that really trips some people up, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's why I knew this one was gonna do that just because of the water, the awful terrain, and the I guess limited visibility.
Hmm.
Especially as you cannot see the spawners unless you are
Right. You
long
can
enough.
infer, yeah, pretty well what's going on. And yeah, I did see people, who were in the water or whatever do the right thing, which is jump up and try to place a torch on the side to try to slow things down until you can try to get the place under wraps.
Hmm. So I got some really good set of books. I really wish these would stack now, or at least something. They're releasing bundles,
Right. Bundles. This is one place that a bundle at least would give you more inventory space, I
but
presume.
bundles don't do that.
Oh.
When you have these items, records as well,
Uh-huh.
I guess this is technically a stack of 64, right?
What is?
Basically, a book is counted as a full stack
Oh,
of
any non-stacking item?
yes. So say you have snowballs that stack to 16, you
Uh-huh.
can put 4 stacks of snowballs in one bundle, not more. It's such a missed opportunity, in my
Ugh.
opinion, to
Yeah.
like consolidate inventory space because
I
why would
didn't, yeah, I didn't look at all really into what how it's happening with bundles. I was aware that they were a thing that existed, and the cynic in me was like, I'm sure whatever Mojang does, they'll completely screw it up. And you're just telling me that they've completely screwed it up.
yeah, so the
Um,
only thing they're good for is for the issue of you have all these plans that you kind of want stacked, all these mob drops that are except for Enderpearls that all take up one inventory space. If only just I wouldn't mind if like books counted as like 8, because then you had 8 books in a bundle.
uh,
I would enjoy that because what are you gonna do? You can't use these once they're in the bundle, right?
yeah,
So there's
I
no
don't know.
advantage.
Let's not talk about it. It's just gonna make me angry.
Yeah, it's just a design issue. Um,
This area coming through here, are we in void biome here possibly?
this is
Mushroom
mushroom.
fields. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So we're under the monument right here. Because I did
Yeah.
notice that coming through this hallway, I saw an Enderman and I saw no other mobs kind of right over here. So this is one of the only places that I thought that we might be under the monument. Okay.
On one hand, I'm glad I did that because it really gives the players a break from this.
Yes. Especially right
Mess.
before you throw creepers riding spiders at them.
There used to be more cave spiders around here as well, and I quick this whole area actually had cave spiders in them.
Yeah,
Like
I think
every spider
possibly I
farm.
had cave spiders, yeah, even just from the starting one. And so now it's mostly big spiders.
Oh no, this is one of the first things I changed because this area was a
Okay.
nightmare.
Okay.
But yeah, these guys, both the creeper and the spider actually have less speed because if you leave them on the regular speeds, they will move really quickly.
Right, because the creeper AI is trying to direct the spider in a way that, yeah, yeah,
And they basically, yeah, they both take control and they kind of multiply or something. Then
yeah.
it's weird.
So good job with that.
And I was just hoping this room would be like, whoa, this really just got really big. So from this cramped stuff, you go into the really big room.
Yeah. And yeah, it definitely was. It kind of depended upon the order that you went and explored different things. But yeah, I saw, I forget if it was Preox and Travel Dog recently or whatever, who thought they'd kind of like completed this whole place and hadn't found the way to intersection 2 yet, and then discovered that they didn't come down the little bridgy path and came to this room. They were like, whoa, okay.
That's cool, yeah. And I find my favorite weapon, the mini
The Mini
ripper.
River. I don't remember if I found this one. I might not have come to the Middle Island, or
But
I don't
actually,
think I
this
found
might
this
have
one.
been. It used to be a gold sword with mending, knockback 2, and flame fire spec 2.
I see.
So, yeah, I changed it along the way.
I see. I don't
And
remember.
then over on the right, over here. So basically, you follow the room on the right side. At least that
Hmm.
was my idea, because there's no path on the left.
I see. I think I might have
And
gone
I
on
had
the left. Yeah.
hoping people would go up
I
this
only saw
waterfall.
someone do this very recently. So yes, show off what happens when you go take a look at the top of the waterfall. Or should I go in
This
spectator
one,
mode first before you
this
blow it up?
one is so mean, and it made it in so many scrapped maps. And then I put it in maps and then removed it because I thought this one was so mean. And here it is. It's like a water thing, and you cannot see the tripwire that's like right above. So you go up, and it's like, oh, and then you try to go down, and it's you kind of hit the water on the sides because Minecraft's water mechanics.
Right. Oh, and on top of it, now there's a creeper riding the waterfall that just got created right up to your death totem.
It tries to grab my stuff.
He fell back
I
down, so you'll be fine.
I believe there's like a piece of gunpowder or a brick or a stick in the
Yeah.
chest, so, or a
It was
torch.
a torch. I checked it, but in spectator mode before you blew it up. Um, yeah. So, um, yeah, for whatever reason, I did not go up this waterfall, so I did not fall victim to that trap. But this is the type of trap that definitely could have gotten me, or could have gotten anyone, honestly.
Hmm It's a very mean one.
Hooray for totems, and hooray for the fact that I didn't find that one.
Hmm.
Enderman, you're not supposed to be carrying this block. Didn't you read the rules?
And then,
What a guy.
can I see your passport and ID, please? Do you have a license for this?
Ah.
Spider AI, my favorite.
So I
And
guess
then,
originally it was just War who said, "Oh, this must be Kit's Cottage because of all the carrots and the stuff that they've done before," and then you actually named it Kit's Cottage.
yeah, I thought that was a really good idea because, yeah, the carrots,
Hmm.
it fit really well.
Yep,
And then War was actually surprised I actually did name it in the end.
I see. Yeah, um, yeah, and it actually gives the food and gives the book that explains the food, and so yeah, a lot of people get here and they're like, "Oh, this actually does something."
Hmm. And it actually gives you also a guide about what every food does because no one's gonna remember it.
Yeah, and yeah, even after reading the guide, it seems like for the most part people don't remember, which is fine.
Hmm.
But
So yeah, all the meats basically are resistance, and then bread, carrots, potatoes. That's all haste.
and then there's a clue about drowning at the bottom of the verdant depths.
Yes. So
And
this one is. I tried to make this one really obvious because it's green, and
yeah,
no one's gonna like trying to look for green in green path.
right. And so yeah, it's hiding in a place where yeah, there's a lot of different vantage points in this room as you're coming in that you'd be likely to see it.
Hmm.
So I imagine people saw it.
And
And
then we have. So you have a small little shortcut up with the vines. This one leads back to
oh,
the start.
I
So
never saw anyone find this. Wow.
yeah, this one is that's the redstone. That's what the redstone torches are for. It's actually
I thought they
well,
were just there to like help you find stuff. What was that they just broke?
that was a chest with 16 vines.
I see. To help make you have to like dig your way up here.
Yeah, it's a few
And
blocks up.
then
Oh, it actually had a shovel as well. And then you basically go
wow.
back to this
It's
point.
right at the start, right at the start. Who knew?
Mm.
Not
If
me.
only I had dug down these two
That's right.
blocks.
I could have skipped the whole area and gone right to the emerald.
I know, right?
It
And then
would
you
be nicer uh, to nitpick if the vines, since it's a two wide column, if the vines were only on one half. So if the player wanted to fall down quickly, they could just fall down straight down on the other half, and then just maybe have vines right at the end to break the fall.
I think they actually yeah, I'm actually pretty sure that they actually grew. They overgrew what I actually put down.
I see. So yeah, just don't
So
have them at the top on one side or whatever or something.
don't use vines. That's all I can
That's
say.
yeah, that's another possibility too.
That's maybe a better one.
That's
Just use
right.
ladders.
That's what you can name your next map. No vines, and everyone will want to
No
play it.
vines. No vines. It will be my best map ever.
We go from Nova to no vines. Intersection
No,
two.
no vines Arcana. And then there's this slow transition of like um verdant stuff to the new block layout.
So I was surprised. I think I saw multiple people try to get through the lava,
Hmm.
which I mean, it's not unreasonable, but just like with
Especially
what
when
you're
you
saying with intersection three, that like you tried to make it so that people would see that there was another way to go. Like,
this one is harder to see because there's no light cue this time.
I guess that's true because yeah, the lava's overpowering the light maybe, but um, yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's just my own personal bias. For whatever reason, I happen to immediately see, okay, there's something to look at here, and I just went that way. But yeah, you could also dig around.
Hmm. And then you would see it this way, and basically the same effect.
Yeah,
You
secret one
can,
way Metroidvania
yeah, you can see it from
unlock.
here actually. Here you can see the
Yeah,
little.
the little
I
cutout.
tried. I tried to put like a little block in front of it as well, so you really cannot see it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have a lot of. a lot of people were asking this, and probably gonna get a lot of more people asking this. How did I actually make these stratums, the layers in the wall? So what I did is this used to all be one block, and then I basically got a whole bunch of world painter terrain that basically generates all the layers and does like little wavy stuff in it that you can kind of see, for example, over here.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I basically replaced all those blocks with the wavy stuff when I was done with the base carving of the terrain. Because if you carve the terrain, you're gonna kind of move blocks around as well. So you're gonna kind of ruin the layered effect.
Got it. I
So you
will
kind of do that.
admit that until I'm looking now with night vision, and we're talking about it, I didn't even notice the layered effect, but it looks cool.
If we actually go out
Uh-huh.
to a little bit to the cave, and if you then look at the wall, it's
Oh yeah, it's very obvious with the night vision on right now that I'm looking at it.
mhm. It's a pretty cool effect. But the negative is that you now have 4 blocks as your main block.
Right. And if you try to dig through it, which might be intended, you have a pickaxe, a shovel, a pickaxe, a shovel, a pickaxe, a shovel.
So digging
Yeah,
becomes
it discourages
more
digging,
of a
which, as
chore.
I said, might be intended. I did do some digging through some walls later in the map that, uh, yeah, I had to do a lot of that.
Yep, it's Minecraft. You gotta dig.
Intersection 2. Da, 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 da.
So you would find the intersection, and then you would see shortcut to ritual grounds and monument.
Hooray!
So, how are we gonna do this?
Remind me, um, third easy way that people could have gotten here without, uh,
Water?
no, I don't know what I was gonna say. Just ignore me for a moment.
Okay, okay.
Ah. Oh yeah, and I guess there is something on the shortcut back, so we could go check
Yeah,
it out
that's
really
what I'm
quick.
thinking about.
Yep,
And
okay.
also that because I think you can actually walk this now as well.
Oh yeah, I did see you added a staircase on the side.
Added
So that's
this
a very
so
nice kindness that I appreciated very much. I
this
didn't
one
have it
is
in my map, I don't
really
think, but
nice because I started to get so annoyed at myself for not doing this when
and I
I
think it also reduces mob spawn potential in here because they can't
doing
spawn on
this.
spares, right?
Oh yeah,
And they
yeah,
can't
that's
spawn on
true.
rails. I think I only saw like a mob in here like once ever. I'm not sure even like part of it. I guess I'm in a jungle biome right here, for example.
Hmm.
And there's lanterns in the ceiling or whatever, and so there's never reasons you wouldn't see too many mobs, but the stairs are a nice addition.
Here we have the shortcut.
I guess it also depends on how much you've lit up in other places, how much it would turn out to be a honeypot potentially.
That's very true. There's actually some advanced calculations now in the game whether mobs can spawn somewhere or not.
Interesting.
If you go into one of the nether biomes, it's called the warped forest. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the blue trees.
I'm going back. Where did we already
Oh, it's
pass?
right here. It's
Okay.
right here. We can.
Okay, the
Oh
nether
yeah,
forest with the warp blue trees, yeah.
yeah. Endermen spawn there, but there's some calculation in the game that makes sure that when an Enderman is somewhere, it actually looks around the Enderman, and it kind of has like an aura that another Enderman cannot spawn there. So you can actually, as a map maker, change it so how dense the mobs can actually spawn. So that when you have
Interesting.
those max spawn situations, like in where everything is lit up except for a small part,
Right.
you wouldn't get 80 mobs in a small part. You would only get like 14
I
or even
see.
10.
Interesting.
And those auras actually also stack together to make a bigger aura. This is my favorite rope ladder. I cannot speak anymore.
So it's just a ladder against barrier blocks, I presume. And I forget if there
Yes,
was one. I guess there's not one at the bottom, and so you better place your own blocks at the bottom.
It looks really sketchy on purpose.
Yeah.
At first, it used to be a ladder on the back of another ladder, so the ladders would keep each other up.
Right.
But then some mechanics changed, and they would pop off.
Yeah. That's I
Like
feel
this
like
time.
anytime you do stuff like that, you're always like playing with fire in terms of like some update's going to completely break it or something fragile is going to happen. Whereas
Yeah,
now, yeah, barrier blocks, ladders, that's more definitely in-game kind of stuff or whatever. So it's
this
unlikely
felt
to
like
break.
one of those Indiana Jones scenes as well, with like the lava underneath, and you're dangling, climbing up.
I definitely
Scared
placed a
real
few
life.
blocks below myself before I came up here.
Hmm.
And I guess, did we already break this? Yeah, this is the other way
Yeah.
up into the bonus area.
Hmm.
So should we go to the bonus area next?
Yeah, we can do the bonus area,
Okay.
and then that could also maybe be a good stopping point.
Okay. Warped Grove.
So
This was
the
my first
warp.
time getting a chance to kind of like, I don't know, I guess I still don't know how much this looks like normal Minecraft biome versus just stuff that you built because I'm unfamiliar
This,
with these blocks.
um, this is basic. Yeah, this is basically just Nether, but just imagine Netherrack everywhere as well,
Okay.
and lava. And the red stuff. So these red vines, the
Mm-hmm.
weeping vines, are with the red trees and the crimson nylium. So that's the red
Right.
grass
Right.
in their own biome, and the blue, all the blue stuff is also in their own biome.
I see. So you just kind of put them together.
Yeah, because the red just goes well with the netherrack, and there's a red biome in the nether, and there's a blue biome in the overworld. And because it's so warped, I thought it would be cool if I put the creepers on top of the spiders again,
They're just a
especially
good
since
mob.
they're basically harder versions of creepers,
Yeah.
and the reward from this dungeon is really nice.
Yes.
Um,
This is probably the best loot in the game, I would imagine.
mhm. And then there's also the OP witches that are actually endgame witches, but I figured since
So do they just have
um
speed? Like, what makes
yeah,
them OP?
they're really fast, and they also have a pretty high follow range, so you cannot outrun them.
Oh, okay. I did notice that sometimes I would try to run away from the witches and they would keep up, but it
Oh,
didn't occur to me that the follow range was a part of that. Okay.
I've seen some scenes which were almost like from The Shining, with some people just keep running
They
away,
run
and
and
it's
they
like,
turn around and it's right
no,
there. Yeah,
yeah, just keep screaming like, get away from me,
I
woman.
see.
So yeah, these really do their job well, and they're not super dangerous because the poison is
Yeah, people
not.
complain about, yeah, we talked about before. People complain about poison more than they should complain about poison, I guess, because they're accustomed to Minecraft poison being as awful as it is. But,
Yeah,
um,
kill them with a bow, and you're pretty good. Don't get like free on you, and then you're. Otherwise, yeah, if you get free on you, you will get instant
don't get
farming.
three on you and then you're. I mean, that's kind of good advice for every mob in the game.
Uh-huh. Don't get free
Don't get
kills.
overwhelmed and you'll be fine.
Exactly.
That's right. This map is
Pro tip:
easy.
don't fall in lava.
That's right. There it is. I was like, somewhere around here there's a mushroom cow, and then I found him. Hi, mushroom cow. I already had you because an Enderman picked up some mycelium early in the map, and I decided to exploit it.
S- insert render sad face somewhere here.
Survive in any way you can think of.
Exactly. I think nobody found this little secret right here. If you go up,
Uh... Oh,
there's
the
nobody.
ledge.
Yeah,
Lots of
nobody found
money.
this because this is just so hidden. So yeah, nobody finds that.
I see. Yeah. And
Yeah, this
yeah, on the one hand, there's vines up to go there, and the other hand, there's vines up to go everywhere. So yeah,
so this mini dungeon is it's
directly
just a
above the
few rooms,
intersection.
just a few rooms after each other.
Yeah, let me go
Where
in
the
spectator
layout
mode really quick and fly above it just to see the layout of it because I never really thought about it.
the
Oops, too high.
layout isn't that interesting per
Yeah.
se. It's just as kind of a zigzag at the start,
Yep.
and then there's the big room with the big cylinder
Yep.
skylight, and then it kind of goes over the how the cave here is carved out. Basically, this when I was making this massive chasm,
Hold on, let me
this
teleport to you.
oh yeah,
Okay.
this small little bridge right here. or small. This big bridge
Uh-huh.
was here and was part of the terrain, so I figured I needed to make it part of something that was going to be up here, which became this grove.
When you say this bridge, you
Um,
mean...
this thing that I'm putting torches on right now.
I see.
This is
Okay.
like a because I was cutting out the basically
I
the
see. There's kind
base
of
of
like,
the
yeah, it
base.
goes up to the ceiling here and it goes up to the ceiling over here, and then there's a part in the middle that it doesn't. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it
And
creates
then
obviously nice overlooks.
yeah, so there are multiple ways to find this. It's either from intersection 3 by going up the skylight.
Correct.
You can find it from the monument. You can find it from intersection 2, by the way we showed. And
Right.
if you never actually saw it from those ways,
Mm-hmm.
you can find it from vertical mines and the obelisks
Yep.
by seeing the bright red mushroom.
Yeah. Anytime you're over in this area, you could definitely see that it was up there in the ceiling.
I really wanted to make sure people would actually find this because it's
Yes.
kind of
Again,
important.
the loot. Like I said, best loot in the game because it's an upgraded healing potion.
Healing potion.
And yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
I guess some of it again is just it's compounded by the fact that by the time you're getting here, you're probably at that stage of the map where you're upgrading from leather and chain armor to iron armor. But then getting the instant health too, so that you can heal 4 hearts at a time with one drink, even if it takes 3 souls. Like that just makes it so much easier to heal in battle.
Mm-hmm. We'll leave an emerald to go with it.
As always. And yeah, then there were some other cool overlooks over here that were very
Also,
scary.
that's from the top of the map all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, I didn't look. I guess I know underneath Submarine City, like obviously the Y level of the lava can't be that low because there's kind of a basement down there. I
Yeah, I
saw
think
that we're
that's
very near the top of the map here.
yeah. This is 230, and the bottom I think is Y30.
Okay, with the lava.
Oh, no, it's Y50 even.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Because there was a bit of a basement. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then with the new height limit that might come, I could make bigger things.
The mushrooms, so there were a few mushrooms in here, and then was there just one mushroom spawn egg that you gave people as loot in a chest in this area?
Yeah, I basically just wanted to not give steak out that easily.
I see. Okay. I thought one seemed kind of cruel. I mean, you're giving kind of easy infinite mushroom stew if people wanted it. Um, but yeah, it's still, they'd have
Mm-hmm.
to do a bunch of rail lines or some kind of shenanigans if they wanted to get steak.
I wanted to make people kind of work for it
I see. Okay.
because I enjoy that. I
Yep.
also try to make sure that when you just stand at intersection 3, it's kind of hard to actually see the area.
Oh yeah. I can't remember if we had talked about that at some point before when we were back at intersection 3, but yeah, I mean, I eventually found the emerald in intersection 3, which involved looking at the ceiling, but it never like came close to dawning on me now down from the bottom of intersection 3 that there was something else up there, even when I'm just standing around here and looking.
Mm-hmm. I think there was most in this area. There's some just general supply chests, but nothing great of importance, no special weapons.
Yeah. Yeah, the main loot was just at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
Then we can head to intersection 2 again.
All right. Get better at flying around.
So, yeah, here we are again.
Indeed. Well, I feel like we made some progress.
Yeah, we we basically, yeah, we made some progress.
We finished an intersection, and now we're ready to start the next intersection where there are 1, 2, 3. There's another area further back. 4 areas. There's a bonus area.
This intersection has the most areas, I believe.
I see. And also the biggest area, I presume, with the fundaments. Well,
Technically not. Technically, well, the biggest area is in this intersection, but I don't think it's the fundaments. It's probably the Netherlands.
oh, I forgot about the, yeah. I completely forgot about
Size
the
is
nether area too. Yeah, yeah.
really big if you look from above with chunk editors.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I had to
I
scrape off.
skipped a lot of it.
It's quite empty, but yeah, it's
um,
technically the biggest.
all right, so we'll have our work cut out for us for next time, I suppose,
Mhm.
and the next time. But yeah, this is fun to go back through.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I don't know anything else in closing.
I have no closing words either.
All right, I guess we will see you next time, and it won't be a closing; it'll be just a preparation for the next opening.
Hmm. See you next time, people.
Bye bye.
Have a good one.